Hello and welcome. In this lesson, we are going to look at maps and regular expressions in JavaScript. My name is Mildred. In the last lesson, we looked at how to create sets, and maps is similar to sets. The difference is that maps are in key value pairs, and the key of maps can be of any data type. So we create a map using the new map constructor like this. So let's create a variable called emails like this. I will say emails is equal to new map. In the pair of parentheses, you can supply the array of key value pairs of the emails, or you can use emails.set. So we use the set method to supply the key value pairs of what we need. So let's say I want Mildred as the key, and I want the value, that's the email of Mildred, to be this. So I'll do the same thing for the next, and let's say James, and this will be james@gmail.com. So we have created a map of emails which maps the first name as the key to the email address. And if we want to print out, let's say we want to return the email address of somebody and we know the key, we will do something like emails.get. So we use the get method, and in the parentheses supply the key. So let's say we want to print out the email address of James to the page. So when I put emails.get James and I refresh my page, I will have the email address of James printed to the page. So we use the key to get the value. So the same way we looped through the values in sets, that is exactly the same way we can loop through the key values and print on the page in the map. So I'm not going to look at the looping through using the for of loop like we did in sets. So if you have forgotten how to do that, go back to review the lessons on sets, and we loop through the maps just exactly the same way we loop through the sets. We have another method of creating this, and we can create it by supplying an array in the parentheses of the new map constructor like this, and then supplying another array of the key value pairs of the items we want. So let's say we want to do it this way, Mildred, and then the email address here is, then as a comma separated list, we put a second array of, let's say James now, and we have james@gmail.com, and let's have a third one, and we'll say this is Faith, and we'll say faith@hotmail.com like this. So we have these three emails on the page. So if we want to get any of the email address of anybody, we can say, let's say we want to get the email address of Faith on the page. So when I save this and I refresh, it will give me the email address of Faith printed to the page. So the same way we did with sets, if you want to look for anything, let's say we want to see if we have a key of James, for instance, it will return true or false, because we are trying to find out, does this have James, to see if the key James exists here, and to tell us true because we have the key James. And if we put a key that doesn't exist, it will tell us false to the page. If we want to delete, we use the delete method. Let's say I want to delete Faith from here, and I'm going to put emails.delete like this, and I'll delete Faith from the list. And so once I delete this and I try to loop through, I am not going to have Faith on the page anymore. So this is all about maps. We are going to apply this to our software development project starting this week, but we have 2 more concepts to look at before we can apply all that we have learned to software development. So let's look at regular expression. Recall that when we did strings and string method, we used regular expressions by trying to make our search case insensitive, or trying to return all of the occurrence of a particular search item in its text. So let's review that to see. Let's say let text be equal to the dog is in the doghouse. So we have the dog is in a doghouse, and we want to search this string for, let's say, dog, and we did something like text.search like this, and then in the parentheses of the search method we use the pattern, and let's say we're searching for dog, and we want it to be case insensitive, we use I. We want it to be return all the occurrence, we use G. Or if it's across multi-line, we use M. If we want to have a different kind of regular expression, not like what we have seen, let's say we have a square bracket here instead, and we want to match all of the characters. Let's say we want to say return all of the occurrence of O and G, of O or G, so it should match the characters here. So any character within the square bracket is acceptable, right? So we want to say, look at this, search if there's O, G here, and it will return the occurrence of the search there. So we have the first occurrence starting at position 5 where there's O, and then we have G also. So these are acceptable characters. So the same thing with numbers, 0 to 9 like this. We want to say these are the acceptable digits, 0 to 9. We also want to do something like we want to find out if there is any digit at all. We use a backslash and a D to look for the occurrence of any digit. For white space character, backslash and S. And then if you want to find out if a particular text occurs at the beginning, you do backslash and B and then put the text, let's say TH for instance. So TH exists at the beginning. This is how we are going to search that. If we want to also search for things like matches a string that has at least one, let's say E for instance. That matches a string that has at least one E, we'll put E plus there. If we want to say that matches 0 or more, E for instance, we'll use an asterisk and want to say, let's say we are doing a global search of H followed by at least one E, we use an asterisk. And if we are doing a global search for H that matches 0 or more E, we use a question mark like this. So these are different regular expressions, but it won't make sense now until we use them in our search of form validations, which we are going to do in the coming lessons. But these are the different things that we have. You don't have to understand it now, but you have to know what exists so that when we start doing that, you'll be able to understand and follow what we are doing. And so if we want to test a particular pattern, we have the test method that we use like this. So I'm not going to go into details of this. Let's say we are testing a particular string. You put in the string here using a test method. We can use the exec method to return the found string if it finds a string. So this is where we end this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to start applying JavaScript to software development, and we're going to look at how to handle errors in JavaScript. Thank you and see you in the next lesson.